Okay. Hi, everybody. We are back with my new friend, Toure, and I'm just enjoying watching him suffer a little bit right now. So I thought I would bring you all into the process. He's got a hungry cat. He's got a daughter who is smarter than both of us combined. He can't figure out the mic. He's got a very performative bookcase behind him. And
Mm.
then I just stalked his Instagram, of which I hadn't done until 6 minutes ago. And I think the person I should be interviewing is his wife, Rita.
Aw, aw. That's so sweet. Yeah, no, she's lovely. She's lovely. What do you want to know
She's
about her?
No, I actually, it now like leads me to 29 other questions I probably have about you. But I do want to say, like, congratulations to your children on high school. And it seems like the college thing, or was that like a post from like 5 years ago?
No, we're like 3 weeks away from taking the
Oh,
oldest one to college and
how you
dropping them
doing,
off
Dad?
and
How
leaving.
you doing? How you doing?
Well, I mean, that's gonna happen in 3 years, so why worry about that now?
Right. Right. Let's progress. Yeah, 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 yeah. We don't have to process that.
It's
We don't have
it's
to
it's
process that
not real. It's not really real.
until
And
it's
you
not.
you vacillate between they're ready, I'm ready for them to be out of here, and oh my god, they're not ready. And
Is that your biggest fear, that they're not ready?
yeah.
Or is your biggest fear that you're not ready?
No, it's about no, that they're not ready. I don't know, my wife may not be ready emotionally, but I'm not ready. They're not ready. That's the fear. That's the fear. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out.
I can tell you with absolute certainty, not knowing them personally, that they are 100% ready if
Oh
you
no.
are there.
No, no.
If you are uh,
No, no, no.
uh,
No.
if
Let
she
me
can
stop
hear
you
me, you're
there.
you
No,
can
that's not
you're
correct.
welcome to come on with the cat,
No, that's not no.
daughter.
No, 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 no. You can't be certain. There's a lot of things going on here, Jenna. It's a very dynamic situation. And do I think everything will work out in the long run? Absolutely. But young people are complicated.
Moving
Things are
pieces.
happening.
Yeah, I don't so here's what I've decided primarily for my son. Well, both of my children, if they decide they want to have a significant other, they're welcome to. I'm choosing them. 1. 2, if they decide to if they it's like my biggest fear. If they decide to go away, I'm moving with them. I mean, I have like a 7 and a 10-year-old now. Like they're still like, in my bed at night type thing.
Let me tell you one thing, Jenna. you
Don't
have a
Tori,
you,
don't
you have
tell me that I'm wrong
you have
already.
boy girl. You have boy girl, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, you know how, let's say, with the children, you buy them a shirt, and over time they outgrow the shirt, and you have to
Yeah.
get them a new shirt, and they
Yeah.
look a little silly. Well, eventually the shirt becomes your house, and they don't fit in your house anymore, and you're kind of like, it's a lot. It's a lot having you here. I love you, but this is a lot. It's
Really? Wait,
nature
wait,
is
wait, wait,
sort
wait.
of
This makes
like
me feel so much better. So you're a little bit like, scooch away.
a little
You're
bit.
like,
You understand.
wow.
I understand a little bit how after a certain period, the lion king of the pride kicks out the boys. He's like, okay, enough of you. There's too many males here now. You were cute when you were little. Now you're like almost a
Yeah, 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 yeah,
man. You
yeah.
need
No,
to go.
now
You
they're
need to go.
like
It's an
laying
energy
on me when we're
thing.
watching simple movies. I'm like, what are you scared of? Oh my God, you need me so much.
But it's like, and I'm not making a gender thing. I just have, either gender
We'll
would be the
just
same
gender
thing.
it for simplicity's sake. Go ahead.
But like, you just they need to have uh their own
Lane.
rules and their own direction and their own things, and they can't have that in your house. And even if you want to be permissive, it's like you got to go be your own person. And I will always be here for you, but like you got to be your own person. And like you don't want to move with them. You want to stay
Mhm.
where you are for them.
I'm gonna
So
I'm gonna control the whole thing.
if I ever need to return home, mom will be there and everything will be what I want, and you can always come back to like, home is fixed. Home doesn't move, so mom will always be there for vacation, for holiday, for if everything
For
falls
picking up
apart.
the bill. For
Yeah, for
picking up the
everything
bill.
is, celebration, reclamation, whatever. Um, and that's I mean, and that's a wonderful thing to have, that I am able to go out in the world as a young person and try things and maybe make mistakes because mom will hold
The
me up.
fail safe is there. No, it's true. That's
And that's
why
great.
people are sometimes like, "Why are you brave?" I'm like, "'Cause I know how many couches I have to sleep on."
Right. Right.
And, like, aunts and uncles, mom's best friend, like, I know what cow I know how many garage codes I have access to. It's not a lot, but, like, I know enough garage codes
That
to
somebody
walk in.
will. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what's with the loud cat?
Oh, I don't know. He's quiet now. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know if
Do
she
you
even fed
have,
him.
like are you a cat person?
I'm a cat person as opposed to a dog person, but this was they wanted a cat. I didn't really wanna have a cat, but I gave in so that they would have what they wanted.
As your eyes are like, you look like drugged when you
I
admit
look
that.
I look drugged.
Yeah, you were like, "They wanted a cat. I lost the battle."
I didn't lose because it wasn't a battle. They didn't press me. They kinda let me know what they wanted, but
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
but
It
I was
sounds like
like,
they
"No,
told you what was
never." And then one
happening.
day I was like, "Alright, fine, go get it. Fine.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
okay.
fine.
Well,
Whatever." He ripped up my fucking
Tori.
couch, but whatever. Yes, Jenna.
Okay, you know what? It seems like Tori has a strong handle on his children leaving for school in fall, but the cat, it's still too soon. So on that note, Tori, thank you for being here. Welcome to Twitch. I'm actually honored to and we definitely did. Like you did, we were like committed to making this work and I appreciate the effort. This is a social media platform on the World Wide Web and people offer comments and I know you are very fluent on all of the other spaces, so I'm honored to invite a personality like yours who wrestles with their identity so publicly in a space that I believe is has some like real traction
What do
over
you
the
mean
next
wrestles with his identity? What
I
what
don't know, you're just like you call yourself out on stuff.
I
You
do?
talk I don't know, do
Oh,
you?
call myself out?
I don't know. You like ask hard questions publicly.
Yes, but not of myself.
Oh, well then in that case, can't sit with me. I think so.
What do you wanna know, Jenna?
I don't know. What do I wanna know? Where's your head today?
Wow.
What
Hmm.
kept you up last night? Why couldn't you fall asleep?
Uh, Money.
It's real.
How much harder could I work to make more? Is anybody not thinking about that?
Um, yeah. Uh, for me, it's a little bit more like, why because so for Land of Anne, we're building this space to ask the existential questions to role model vulnerability. We have a whole track on men's content. We're doing a bunch of stuff on American identity. We have a lot of things. And as all the networks are falling around us, and as you and I have both experienced firsthand and bear witness to often, it's not like there's any real journalism or conversations happening in any of those spaces. I'm hoping to build more community here, and that requires that I go to foundations and be like, I promise, folks who don't watch any of the big three, who don't read, because who reads? Like, no one reads. Maybe you do, your bookshelf behind you. Um, how do we call people in? How do we call people in and try to figure out who we are? I'm just coming off a conversation 30 minutes ago on here with somebody who specializes in post-conflict, emerging conflict, and primarily post-genocidal communities. And her research was focused in Burundi. I don't know how well versed you are in Burundi, but had risked falling into genocide in the same way that Rwanda did, although opposite Hutu and Tutsi. the scaffolding, the organizational scaffold of who had power were opposite in Rwanda. We were talking a lot about how you can predict when countries are about to implode, when societies and communities are about to implode, and it's entirely. And what she was saying is that often people think that at the root of genocide is hate, and she had suggested that at the root of genocide is fear, and fear related to a myth or a story about the other or the out group. And that has me entirely rocked because I think so many of the myths that we're wrestling with today, particularly the ones that we have about ourselves, the one we have about the other people, um, are telltale signs that we're headed for trouble. And so, anyway, to bring it back to your question about money, I'm trying to get more foundations to give us money, and they don't get it.
Um,
Sorry.
Genocide around fear or hatred.
And not that we have to necessarily go there. It's just I'm coming off of that conversation, and then there's some people in the chat talking about
I
how,
don't know that it's
in the
I
f
don't know that it's fear. Fear lets them off the hook. I think the leaders would use the specter of fear to get everybody else to go along,
yeah.
but it's hatred that's gonna drive you, isn't it?
Well, let me give you the example she offered, and apologies to those of you who were here for this original conversation, but here's how I interpreted what Dr. Adrienne Lemon was explaining. And she's one of the leading experts on sort of post-genocidal analysis. She used the example in Burundi, which came short of imploding into a genocide, that the Tutsis were in power and they believed, and the Houthis were the majority population. The Houthis were largely undereducated and didn't have access to opportunities to climb the socioeconomic ranks. The Houthis were perpetuating the story that the only reason they weren't able to get ahead was because of the Tutsis and the Tutsis that were in power, that were controlling the system. The Tutsis who controlled economy, government, etc., were saying, if we let the Houthis into power or give them access to resources, um, we are at risk. They might subjugate us. And so it was the clashing stories about each other that perpetuated fear of one's access to safety, security, resources, whatever it might be, that resulted in violence and bloodshed. But it was the efforts post Rwanda to help the Houthis and the Tutsis there understand and see um, how the stories that they were told about each other were false. They used radio to share those same sort of learnings and prevented genocide in Burundi. And so when I think about the United States and what's happening with like the us and the theming, and I don't know if I could draw clear circles around exactly who the groups are, but if I had to, I could. It is rooted in fear. And if I look at what's happening, I think in the Middle East and in some of the 33 conflicts around the world, I think it is rooted in fear, often perpetuated by religious myths, but I don't really wanna talk about that.
I don't uh,
I
I
don't know if
know
that answers
more
your
b
question.
I mean, I know more about the Israeli-Palestinian situation through my family, and I think it's a little bit more about hatred and power than about fear. Again, I still think the leaders, as Trump has done, as Netanyahu's done repeatedly, use fear as a motivator to I mean, it almost becomes difficult to separate them. You know, the Israelis would have you believe that they are under attack from every
Right,
country in the region.
right,
So they have reason to be afraid of every country in the region. Um, I think there's a tremendous amount of hatred toward Palestinians that they marshal into that conflict, right? Which is absolutely related to the entire region and their sense of fear from the entire region. I mean, my God, the sense before you start to dig into the whole situation for real is that the Palestinians aren't human, that the Israelis would have you believe that they're not human beings, that they would argue for the moral right to kill the children because they will grow up to be adults.
Fear.
And so they are our enemies already. I mean, we're talking about collective punishment for this entire group. It's absurd. It's absurd, and people are comfortable defending the Israeli government in a way that you would nobody ever defended the apartheid government like that. It's
Yeah, but, like,
unbelievable.
it's I actually don't know if I was I know I think I saw a post of yours. It was about a Jewish American making a statement about, like, how the hell can the rest of Jewish Americans think, believe, behave this way, and I am entirely aligned with the outrage, and my fury runs deep. We were gonna have my daughter's bat mitzvah in Israel, and I told my husband, like, 3 weeks ago, I'm like, we're never going back to Israel. We're never going back to Israel." Um, anyway, when it comes to identity, though, and myths, do you think people, the public, have an accurate handle on who you are or how you identify yourself?
Um, I mean, I think for the most part, yes. I mean, you try to be in the sort of news sliver of the world that we're in. I'm like, you guys should have some sense of who I am, but I'm not the story here. I'm not, it shouldn't be about me. I'll tell stories about my life, but I'm really generally reporting or analyzing things that other people are doing. And it's like, why it necessarily relates to me, I don't know. I had an interesting comment. I did a video yesterday about heterofatalism.
I
You know
saw
what
it.
that is? You know what that is? Did you know what that
Well,
was?
oh my God.
This woman commented, "Aren't you married or are you married?" And I'm talking about I never
First off,
discussed
give the viewers sorry. Okay, we got a lot of dudes in chat. Can you define heterofatalism for us, please?
it's defined as the idea that straight women continue to date men even though they find it very uh
Unsatisfying.
bad bad for their spirit, unsatisfying, not working, frustrating, crazy making. They are not getting any closer to getting a boyfriend, and they are like, what the hell, and yet they keep going and trying. So this is the fatalist part of the hetero. So I'm just describing a social thing that I understand is going on. And someone says, "Are you married?" I didn't talk about myself. At no point did I say I am going on dates or not. And the subtext of the video was men are trash. That the reason why women are in a shitty
This
situation is that
emoji.
the men are not. But I mean, like the men are not. Women are quite often practicing relationships in their romantic relationships in their girlfriend relationships. They will buy each other gifts, take each other on dates, tell each other how beautiful they are, how great you are, how smart you are. These are the things that you would want your boyfriend to do for you.
Mhm.
To take care of you, buy you gifts, take you out, whatever. We men don't structure our relationships with men as a precursor to our relationships with women. We hang out, we do a thing. We go play
Sorry, your
football.
relationships with men are not filling in holes or filling in gaps in
They're
your marriages.
No, well, no. I mean, my when I relate to a man, that has nothing to do with the way I would ever relate to a woman. I'm not talking about
Right.
anything sexually or romantically.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah, yeah,
relate
yeah.
to him based on there's a transactional thing that we can do together. We, make music together. We play tennis together. We play golf together. We chase women together. But we do a thing together. We watch the game. We love the Eagles. We go watch the Eagles game together, and maybe we get drunk before or after, but like the whole thing is focused around this is the thing we do together. And then we finish doing that thing and we separate. Did we connect? Did we share? I mean, we shared the experience of the game, but Did I talk to you really deeply, meaningfully about, like, I'm having a hard time in my marriage? No. Or my kid is leaving for college and I'm sad about that? Like, generally, no. And right, and to where we make a joke about it, like the husband would come home from hanging out with his friend, and the wife would be like, "So how's his marriage? I don't know. What's going on with his kid? What college is he? I don't know. What's happening? I don't know. Well, what did you guys do? We talked about the game." So we are not preparing for relationships. So when a man gets in a
Correct.
romantic relationship, that is a novel experience for him. It is not a novel experience for the woman. She is practicing what that is all the time. So her experience of doing that with him who never practices is going to be unfulfilling. Just like
Fatalistic.
yeah, just like if I started playing tennis with somebody who doesn't play, I play tennis every day. You don't play tennis, it's going to be boring for me. Beside the fact that other things within this realm, I think in
Okay, so
general,
that
women want to talk more and to share more, just in general, and men just aren't generally at the same level of wanting to talk or
raised
share as much as they, and certainly not about their emotions
they
where women
weren't
think about their emotions all the time. So there's a lot of disconnects, and there's different ways that we are coming to now. Again, to go back to your
Toure,
question,
I have to stop you for a second. It's not that you don't want to. You haven't been raised with the musculature to do it. I'm not referencing you. I'm just making sweeping statements
the
about it.
musculature to do what?
To identify emotions, to process emotions, to engage in talking about those emotions. We strip boys and men of all of their emotional literacy by the age of like 12, 13, 14 when we tell
Well, I don't
them
know why
not to
you said
cry.
strip. They never had it. They never
I
had
think
it.
they do as babies. I think it starts at we have a boys and men's track. We have a lot of men's oriented experts on here who talk about it is it is a societally raised set of behaviors
Yeah.
inadequacies that start very, very young. I
Sure. Yes.
believe as someone who gives s- s- spends my life stressed about the state of the world, I actually think the most important thing I can do is raise my son to be different than all of the former generations, and that
I
is more
wish I
emotional
wish that
fluency.
for I wish that for you. I hope that you get there. Um,
That's where the
you
choosing his
you
partner comes in process.
you are also swimming upstream against the men in his life, his male peers who are not men yet, and all the messages in popular culture.
Correct.
So he's going to go to the movies, and you don't see boys crying for the most part. You don't see boys having emotional reactions. My God, in television commercials, they will routinely mock a male for showing an emotion beyond joy or anger. And I notice sometimes you see an ad where a male is being emotional about the product and somebody will make fun of him. And I'm like, wow.
I actually someone who's in chat, Master Liberty, who's our, like, Federalist expert, he's questioned some of the conversations we've had about men and masculinity, on here, but I do one of the things that we are not good at doing both for women and men, very American, is this idea of being like, I don't know, I'm confused, I'm afraid, I'm confused, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm confused. And I really appreciate you opening the conversation with saying, what kept you up last night? You said money. That's a significant subject for particularly men's relationship with money and how they interpret themselves against how much money they have.
Oh,
The kind of maybe you should just come onto our his money show, how they define themselves against it, how the rest of the world defines them against it based on how much they have. But like the fucked
I mean,
upness.
you are inherently valuable. I am valuable because of what I do, because I can provide. But you are a beautiful woman, so you are valuable inherently.
Wait, because of pretty privilege or because of being a woman?
Both. Both, but I wasn't locating it in being pretty, but
Well, you said
she's
beautiful. And I'm not fishing for that. I'm just calling it out.
that is the way that I feel, and the way that I feel like a lot of men have been made to feel, for better or worse, that the woman is inherently valuable,
Oh,
because of perhaps because of the attributes that you're referring to, and the man is valuable because he can provide, if he can provide, and he's valuable at the level that he's able to provide.
how do you define providing? How do you think the world defines providing? How do you provide?
Taking care of her financially.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is where I can get really cranky about like the trad wife movement. Girl,
That's a whole other, that's like you
no,
left at the edge of the spectrum there. I'm not talking about trad
no,
wives.
no, no, no. Well, I do want to
And
say that like, so I wrote this book about the state of American white women. I said the most privileged option decision that this demographic gets, which I haven't seen really any other where in the world, is the choice about whether or not to work or stay at home. And I think that's a decision that goes across a lot of race, economic, religious classes, but is very much rooted in this right that like women get to be like, I'm going to be a stay at home mom, take it or leave it. And that's not an offer that's extended, I don't believe, at all to men. Um, when women opt out of their own sources of finances, forget financial stability, they immediately erase any options or freedoms they might want in the future. And when they say yes and walk down that aisle, and I do, everything is like chipper and white picket fancy and wedding registries, and like everyone's like happy. But going back to like the heterofatality, I don't know one marriage, and I'm not kidding, one that's happy. And it's mostly women who are frustrated with their men's inability to see them, to read the room, not meet their needs, because it's sort of like, you kind of sort of have to meet your own need, but the ability to like just be present. Because if they don't know how to fix or provide a solution, then they failed. And so then you end up becoming the backboard for the men constantly trying to define who he is to himself.
I mean, yeah, I definitely think a lot about how marriage tends to be bad for the woman. Tends to be a pretty good deal for the guy over the long haul, um,
Yes.
for the most part, but not a good deal for the most part for the woman. Um, and we cannot quantify love and companionship, but she ends up doing the double shift. She ends up doing more work. If she's not a stay-at-home mom, which very few people can be now, um, yeah, I mean, I understand the things that you're saying that can develop. It's hard. It's hard to have a good, peaceful 20-year relationship. How long you been married?
1,000 years. Did that answer the question?
You know, my parents were married for 40 some years till my father died. And they had a thing that I noticed that was sort of like this sort of amnesia. So, like, if one upset the other, they would say it, they might say something, they might not, and then they kind of like let it go. And I'm like, I mean, okay, that's one way of doing it. And I guess, I guess.
You mean like it would just like roll off their back?
Yeah, but it's also a little, I don't want to say toxic, but it's a little like it'd be so nice if you could just forget all the time that your partner hurts your
I can
feelings. But I
Google
don't think that's healthy to just
Google Excel
forget
spreadsheet. Which tab do you want me to open for you?
it.
It's actually a little bit of my issue with the Mel Robbins let them theory that do you know Mel Robbins and the let them theory?
I know her, but I don't know what you're referring to.
So I'll Jenna summarize it. So it's like very much my
Gonna
perspective, which is
generalize it.
Now I'm gonna generalize it. Now verbs, that is submitted to Webster. In the last conversation, we were talking about whether or not we can, like, make democracy a verb because it shouldn't be a noun, it should be a verb. Anyway, I'm gonna generalize it, which is instead of believing that you can control someone or get them to change or to adapt to your perspective, you have to let them. You have to, like, either draw your boundary or let them go do their thing. They're gonna break your heart, like, let them do it. Just know who you are. So the idea of, like, letting people just do their thing.
Okay.
I've always wrestled with this because I'm like, well, that I think
As
can
opposed to
prohibit
what?
holding people accountable, holding people to, like, what your parents do. Like, do my parents let things roll off their back? No, it's a totally different conversation, but because my mom just completely controls them. But, like, I don't know. I think just letting people ride and do their thing without holding people accountable doesn't stop toxic, harmful cycles, not just within their own relationships, but in general.
Um, what is it that you think a husband could do? Because you're like, we're all the wives are not happy. I can talk about why the husbands are not happy. I don't know why
Oh, let's hear it.
the why. No, I mean, I want you to you
I mean,
you brought up. You get in trouble first.
it's fine. There's nothing I won't say. Which is also part of the problem. What else? What was the question? What do I think that men
What
are?
do
What are
men? What do husbands need to do better?
not be so afraid of failing and be and just be present. Like, one of the things my husband and I have worked through a lot is, like, I would come home and be like, "Meow, meow, meow, this happened today at work," and he would be like, "Okay, well, what about this? And what about this? And call this person." Da, 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 da." I'm like, Shut up! I just need you to bitch for a second. Like, I didn't need you to solve." And the solving and the providing for comes with the identity and those markers. And I actually need him just to love himself enough that he doesn't.
That's how we talk. That's how we talk. If a man said to me, if I said to a man, I have a problem, and he just listened, I would think he doesn't give a shit. I'm not looking for you to solve the problem, but I am inherently saying, "What would you do?" And he will call this one or do this or did it. That's how we talk to each other. And I understand this what you're talking about. And men need to decouple. That's like that works with my friends. That's not work with her. The concept of she just to say this that annoyed me or hurt me or whatever. She doesn't need anything beyond just listen, just be an ear. That's foreign to us. So we just have
Well,
to
and
be
but
just to become acculturated to it. But I mean, it's complicated because sometimes I try to do it for my wife, and she'll be like, "I'm upset about this, not about me, just she said this, and then she said this, and then she said
mhm.
whatever," and then she's like, "You're not saying anything." I'm like, "Well, I'm letting you get it all out before I jump in, but now you're like annoyed that I didn't jump in earlier, but like."
And maybe not listening?
Yeah, yeah, so I'm, like, listening and, like,
No,
letting you
no, no,
go.
no, I'm asking you, is there a chance you weren't listening?
No, no, I'll be listening as far as you're talking, you're sharing, you're spewing. Go ahead. I'm listening. That's she's not saying you're not listening in that situation. Um, but it's more like, it's just hard. It's just hard. We're not used to that. So we just have to be trained.
You know, it's interesting because so again, going
Trained
back
is a triggering word. We just have to be educated that what she wants is for you to just listen and not solve her problem.
well, but I think this goes back to, like, more dignity stuff. Like, I just need someone to bear witness to the bullshit with me too. I saw a girl yesterday on the street at a cafe shop eating avocado toast with, like, this big crocodile tear coming down her face. And I went over, "No, I don't know her." And I just put my hand on her shoulder. I just said, "I'm so sorry, I see you." It's re and then I walked away. The bearing witness to somebody's shitty day or annoyingness is
W
sort of
You threw
hold on,
me
let me get
off.
this
A crocodile
is
tear is a fake tear.
oh, sorry, you're right, a big tear. Sorry, she was
Okay.
sincerely crying.
Okay.
Sorry, to clarify, I don't know this person, she was crying.
Okay.
I was like, I'm gonna carry some of this burden with you today. I don't know the issue, I don't wanna know it. I'm just passing by and I'm saying, "I see your grief." It's all I can offer. I think if someone's done that to me, which they have, been the 16-year-old girl on the street, like on the bench, like, "Oh, no one gets me." And just like someone says, "I see you. I see you." And like with my kid, he's really into Star Wars now. It's Superman. We just saw Superman, or he just saw Superman, and he stood right here and he told me about Superman for 45 minutes. And I went like this every like 15 seconds to a minute and a half. I just looked at him in the eyes and went, uh huh. And then I turned around and I kept emailing. I'm like, uh huh, wow, wow. And then what? And then what? And he just thought I was giving him the most undivided time of his life. And I'm not gonna be able to do that much longer because at some point he's gonna be like, "Mom, you can't multitask." But I think the idea of, and this is where like my girlfriend relationships are really important. I never go out to dinner with Ashley and think, "Oh, I can't wait to hear what advice she gives." I never go out to dinner with my friend Brooke to be like, "I need her to help me like split this hair on like what I should do here." I just go out to be present with them. I want to hear their bullshit. I know that they can hear mine. And like that's kind of it. And maybe if they're like, "Oh my God, that happened one time with my boss. Oh my God, this," sometimes it's helpful, but I never am going horse trading looking for advice. And that's what's so important about my key friendships is that we're just there to be present with each other, to bear witness. That's what I want in a partner. Am I boring or is this like a thing?
What? Is that a question?
Yeah. Is this like profound hitting home or are you just
No,
like
no, that was
doing what
good.
I
No, I mean,
do
I'm
when
listening. No, I'm listening to you. That you did the same thing my wife did. Like, what you're talking, I'm letting you.
oh my God!
I was
Holy
letting
shit!
you talk, and she freaked out that I didn't bring it. Like, what is that? I was just listening to you, and you're talking.
Oh my God, we just did the same thing.
What would you?
Okay.
How would I not being present for you when I'm like
Well,
listening
no,
to
you
you when
had
you
this
talk?
look. Okay, 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 let's analyze it. You had this look of like, she's either crazy, I'm
That's
not
your shit.
listening to her. Is
That's your
that what she
shit.
said?
That's your shit. That's your shit. Nope, that's your shit. I didn't say any of that.
Yeah.
You're applying your own shit. I had not quite heard somebody take me into the sort of psychology of the girl dinner in that way.
I get
Of like,
nothing out of it.
don't I don't want I don't expect her to give me advice. I expect her to be present. And um and I know you guys are. I know you are. I know that you would be telling your story and the other three girls would be looking at you and listening to you and focused on you. And like, what else, girl? What else, girl? And like you feel totally focused. With a group of guys, you have to like fight to wrestle their attention and you have to be interesting to earn their attention. And if you get boring, they cut you off and they're like, done listening to you. Now we're going to talk about something else. And like, it's not presence like, what's going on with you? Or like, what, you want to tell a story or like, it had to be a good story, but it had to be like good inherently, not like it's important to me, but like it's interesting to you.
Yeah. Well, I'm probably not, I don't think I'm showing up with boring stories. I'm showing up with good
Of course
tea.
not. No, of course. Of course, because
You know
you
what
want to
else?
be a good participant.
Well, it's not that. It's that like if I find someone boring, I I mean my friends, my girlfriends, my partner, my family, they get really agitated with me because they know the second I'm bored, I like will get up and I will leave a dinner early. I will walk out of a movie. I will like turn my back on a conversation. I get very agitated at the fear of being bored. So I just like want someone's interesting life story.
Yeah.
I don't know if the thing that keeps us glued to each other is that there's a lot of common ground that we're finding that we sort of serve as like life rafts for each other a little bit. Like, this is happening in my marriage. This is happening in my marriage. I'm stressed about this kind of finances. What about my health? Da, 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 da. And it's all a little bit like the Venn diagram overlaps enough that there's a selfish component to each of the subjects. Where, like, if you sat down with your friends and were like, I'm worried about my financial stability, because who's not? What's enough money? How much is sincerely enough money? What's baseline? What's the nut? And then what's sincerely like enough money where I like don't have to worry? 100% of them sit there and shut up. They don't talk. They're like, what else? Me fucking too. Instead, you guys were like, what do you think about the trade between the Chiefs and the Eagles? Who fucking
Yeah,
cares?
you talk about yourselves. We don't talk about ourselves. I might talk about my ideas, but I would probably not talk about myself. I might kick in some facts. My kid's about to go to college. My kid got into Harvard. My kid, whatever. My wife got a new job. But even that, as important as it is, I could easily see a guy going home and be like, "So what's his wife's new job like?" I don't know. Um, mm, it's a trading of ideas. That's exciting, I think, with a group of men. And like who has really interesting ideas about something. Like that's interesting. But it's not like a
You mean
connection.
like
It's not an
like
emotional
investing
connection.
things or like how to role model vulnerability? Because we actually, I'll do a selfish plug right now. We're hosting a series of men's groups, just men, here on Twitch, role modeling vulnerability, role modeling this exact thing. Because every man I know is desperate for it. Every man I know is
For
desperate for it.
vulnerability?
Relationships where they can be more vulnerable because they're not vulnerable enough with themselves.
Who
How
wants that?
many you?
Who are these men who want more vulnerability?
I
With
guess men.
maybe, yeah, who wants that?
I guess the men I choose to surround myself with.
See, that's not a great test because I mean, perhaps they want it in general. Like we outsource our emotional conversations to women. We all know we do this. This is not news. So if I wanted to have an emotional conversation for some reason, then I would look for a woman. I would call you. I would call my sister. I'd call my friend, whatever. Um, Not another man, which is fine, I guess. But then it's like, see, that's what I'm saying that you guys are practicing for relationships in your relationships, being present, being emotional, connecting with each other, and we are not. And when we want to, when we would do something emotional, we would go to a woman. So you might be practicing your romantic relationship in your platonic relationships with women, perhaps, but not in your relationships with men. But women are. So they're practicing, practicing, practicing. They get into a relationship. They kind of know how it's supposed to go and what they want. You don't. And they've been thinking about the relationship. You know what somebody said? If a man sees a woman he's attracted to, he is envisioning uh, sex with her in some way. If a woman sees a man she's attracted to, she's envisioning the things
Her
that they
career at
will do
countertops.
the things that they will do together. So we're walking down the beach together. We are at a nice candlelit dinner together. Like the relationshipy things, right? That's what she's thinking about. She's practicing that with her girlfriends. They go women go out on what they call dates. We don't interact that way. So then when we are asked to interact with that way, we are low on practice, they are high on practice, and they're like, you guys can't keep up. Well, yeah. But also there's the taxi cab theory. You know about the taxi cab theory?
What, you can tell a taxi driver anything?
No, that the man is like a taxi cab. He is the cab or he's the driver in that he is dating. He's just driving around, and then at some point he will turn on his light because for some reason now he is ready for a more meaningful, mature relationship. And at that point, whatever woman comes into his life will be a strong candidate for marriage because she not necessarily partly because of who she is, but partly because he became ready, whereas women are a little bit more ready independently than that. You
No,
know what I'm
I
saying?
think a man no, I think just a man's, like, fraternity brother gets engaged and he goes, "Oh, I guess it's time."
That kind of.
I do not I have to push back on almost all of this, Tori. One,
Oh,
someone put in the chat that there's a lot of emotional labor put on women when we have to
yes.
receive men.
Yes.
Yes, okay. You
Yes.
totally acknowledge that.
That's what I said.
But
Yes.
I don't if you did not have sister friend, there how many male friendships do you have that are, like, rooted in authenticity enough where you can be like, "Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed I just did this," or, "Oh my god, this guy broke my." So, my best friends, like, I can be shame-filled in front of them.
How many male friendships do I have where I could be shame
You can
filled
say, like, "I embarrassed, I, like, really screwed that
with
up.
a
I don't
man?
know what to do about money," with a man. "I don't know what to do about money. My sex life sucks. I don't know where I'm gonna get my next job. I feel so inadequate, I can't deliver for my kids. I suck."
I mean, you wouldn't. I mean, I would never say I suck.
Okay,
That
fine, alright.
that like, mm, um, I mean, I can think of maybe two. Um, but I mean, yeah, I mean, like one who I know I could be humble with if I needed it. But that is, but we're asking a different question because you're like, if I needed it, who would I go to? But
Yeah,
typically,
when would you ever need it? You're going to your sister, your wife.
yeah, but typically I wouldn't need it. I wouldn't, no, no, I wouldn't know that I needed it. I wouldn't know that I needed it.
Can
So
I invite you
I would just
just to
suffer in silence.
watch can I invite you just to watch lurk some of these vulnerability sessions that are being hosted? I'm calling them vulnerability sessions. We have, like, better you can, like, answer a text message, you can feed the cat. You don't have to participate, but I want your
Here's,
2
here's,
cents on
here,
this.
maybe we'll
Because
see.
heterofidelity is because shut up. You just do this for me and Rita. Like, just we have to break these cycles. We both thought you weren't listening.
I know, but that's on you. I
It
was.
might be. It might be. It might be. That is fucking crazy. Ugh. Okay. So one of the things that Tori and I can really commiserate on together that is not across the gender spectrum is we both sometimes put our foot in our mouth in the very, very, very public stage, and not foot in our mouth, but like sometimes we don't say, hold on 1 second. Sometimes we don't say things exactly the way that we want to. I've had some plenty of flubs. Okay, me, just me. Tori is perfect on air. Tori is perfect on air. He's perfect on air.
I didn't know
But
why it became a weed thing at all. I thought you were going
okay, fine.
somewhere else
It's just,
entirely.
oh, where'd you think I was going?
Go on. I want to see if you get there anyway. Think you're-
Anyway, so we put ourselves out there as commentators in
Mhm.
places that require us to deliver a PhD in 45 seconds
Mm.
that is applicable to all spectrums of audience members. So I met Tori because we sit next to each other, or we sat next to each other on Abby Phillips' show on CNN. And it was really, it's understandably rough. I do most of my talking head on right leaning outlets. So I'm used to it. But how does it feel when you get off those shows sometimes when you don't feel like you really got your point across? Does
Oh,
that
I
ever
mean,
happen?
well, I mean, like, yes. I mean, esprit d'escalier, right? The spirit of the staircase is very real. In that you come off the show and you're like, oh, I should have said this.
Yes.
I should have. And I might get stuck in reconstructing the moment like days for
Oh,
days.
yeah.
of like,
Yes,
"Oh, you should have said this, you should have said
and it's
this."
so much better the day after too,
Oh my god. Oh my
when you're
god.
by yourself.
Oh my god. Oh, but I do feel like you are practicing for if a similar moment comes up or if that moment comes up again, then you are better equipped at what to say or how to handle a certain moment. I mean, this CNN show, Abby Phillips show, I love Abby. It's a complicated emotional show because you're sitting there with the right, and they quite often say things that are flat out wrong, things that are meant to troll or trigger, things that are fairly obnoxious, and um, it's a lot to say, "I'm going to stay here in my zone up here of what I plan to say, what I wanted to say," and not get dragged down into the mud of arguing with whatever dumb idea that they just said, which is tricky. It's tricky.
I sometimes find myself in I am currently in Bucks County, in Pennsylvania, so a swing county in a swingy state. And I will, after I come off air, I'll sometimes go to a grocery store and someone will be like, I just saw you. Do you really believe what you said? Do you really, or is, I get this, just is George Soros paying you? And I say, not enough. That's for damn sure. For the record, he's not at all. But do you ever believe that they believe what they're saying?
Yeah,
Or
I
do
do.
you ever believe that they don't believe what they're saying?
Let me tell you how I know that many of them don't believe what they're truly saying. That I did a show similar to uh, Abby's somewhat the cycle at MSNBC during the second Obama administration, which was left, right, left, right. Crystal Ball was on me, Steve Kornacki, Essie Cup. And the original group, Essie Cup, was our big righty. Um, and she used to talk she's deep in the conservative ecosystem for many, many, many years. Knew everybody, everybody knew her, whole thing. And she used to talk about Glenn Beck. She was really cool with Glenn Beck. And she kept saying, he's a
A
true
name you
believer.
barely hear anymore. A name you barely hear
She would
anymore.
say, he's a true believer. Right? That's the phrase she gives you. He's a true believer. And I read that to be, oh, you're saying some people aren't. And like that you truly believe, and we can truly believe that Glenn Beck believes what he's saying. But so many of the rest of them are performance artists that they are saying what they know will be valuable. And I think it becomes difficult to distinguish the real person from the performance artist when so much of their life is giving them status and kudos for saying crazy shit. I don't think Bill O'Reilly was like that at the beginning of his life, but he kept getting kudos for saying crazy shit. So he kept saying more crazy shit. At some point, that became who he is, right? Sean Hannity is a performance artist, but at some point, he became the role. But that doesn't mean the role became real. I mean, he became a full time liar, that he is the role. Um, all of them over there, but especially the primetime lineup, they are ridiculous performance artists, primetime liars. And I imagine at some point in the day or in their life, they're like, I'm playing a role here, but they're given so much to play the role, money, kudos, status, that like they're like, well, I'll just play it, to the nth degree, because that happens on the right. It doesn't really happen in the left wing media ecosphere. There is not on the left a battle to say the most outrageous thing. We are not competing with Rachel and Lawrence and Paul Krugman and whoever to say the wildest thing. On the right, there is that competition and it's constant. And they have to keep saying wilder and wilder things just to be heard. So it pushes the entire dialogue far, far, far to the right into like crazy places.
Crazy
And we're just
town.
not playing that game on the left.
Well, I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's that they're competing for saying the craziest thing or if they're just waiting for their colleague or someone else in their lane to come up with the next lifeboat that they can all grasp onto. For example, that Ghislaine Maxwell was a victim herself, so if Trump suddenly decides to pardon her, it's because she was a victim, and we all know that a pardon would come at him muzzling her related to anything that she did that he did with Epstein, which I think was like a really smart spin on behalf of the right. Like, I'm like, "Oh, well played that you're gonna suddenly victimize her so that she can get off and then confirm that Trump was never anywhere near Epstein and the girls." I think they leech onto each other's ideas like that, so they're like, "Okay, that's one more lie. Okay, that's one more lie. Okay, that's one more lie,"
They
verse
do.
being like, "What's the craziest
Oh,
thing
no,
per se?"
there's
But
but it's both because you'll have remember Michelle Malkin or Sean Hannity or especially the ones who are independent. So, Coulter, when Ingram was
yeah,
before he was on
she's
Fox.
also been MIA.
Well, but the people who are not in Fox or not in an organization, but are the independent conservative operators, mainly like on social, they really have to say the
Yes,
wildest
agreed,
possible thing. So
agreed.
it's kind of like screaming to be heard because everybody else is screaming. They all think that immigrants should be treated horribly. Well, so to say immigrants should be treated horribly gets you no attention. So you have to say they should have their fingernails pulled out.
Yeah,
Oh, that's not bad. So Michelle Malkin has to say their children should be murdered in front of them so that they never. Oh, so now you have to. Right, so you have to. The left is not playing this game whatsoever, but the right is playing this game. And then yes, the elected officials kind of have to go along with the tone that is being created. So okay, we won't pull their fingernails out, but we will put them in an alligator camp because the media, the right wing media, has conditioned the audience to want this. So then the elected officials kind of have to give it to them. So they're working in this symbiosis that is rolling them further and further rightward all the time. And the left is moving further leftward, but we are not doing that thing at all.
no. We're certainly not, like, shopping for ideas
No,
based on our commentators.
no.
Have you ever said anything publicly that you regret? Not because you got it wrong, because I think it's
No,
important
never.
for
What are you talking
particularly
about?
the
Next
left.
question. You want me to go back to things that I wish I didn't say and I
No,
escaped
no, no,
them?
no. No, 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 'cause I don't remember all the flubs I've made either, but do you ever feel like there's a cost to being blunt? Like, sometimes I do come off air and I'm like, "Why am I doing this again? Like, why am I doing this? Is it even working? Is it even helping?"
So it's interesting that you feel like that. I mean, a I personally have a clear vision of why I am in media, which goes back to the beginning of why I was in media, to help shape the way that Black people are seen and discussed. The things that I say and analyze, and then the way that I am myself, that I'm able to show up in these spaces and speak the way that I do. And I know a lot of people take a lot from that, especially people older than me who remembered a time when there really weren't that many Black people on news shows. Um, my God, in the 70s, there weren't that many. There were very, very, very few Black news hosts at all. Um, so so I feel it important to be representing Black people in the way that I speak, and then in the things that you are doing and emitting yourself. Um, but yes, sometimes you're like, that is a shit show. I do feel like CNN wants a barroom brawl. MSNBC, they more like wanted like you know how like you go in the library in college and then there's like the closed in glass room where the nerdy students could talk about the subjects together? Like that's like MSNBC. And they'll put like, three or four progressives together to build downward into an idea. So it's like because so it's a deep conversation. Nobody disagrees, really. They're like, "Oh my God, you're
Sure.
so right, but let me explain to you the deeper
Yeah.
reason
Let
why
me
that."
elaborate. Let
Yes,
me
let me
elaborate.
elaborate further on more why that is, where CNN wants you to fight, um, which doesn't solve anything, especially when the right
No.
is so ridiculous at this point in history. I did Bill Maher a long time ago at a point like before Bush v. Gore, Bill Maher's show sometimes served a valuable purpose, and we watched it a lot in that era because it was the left and the right having a passionate
Yeah.
but somewhat reasonable conversation. And after Bush v. Gore, I started to notice, oh, the left and the right are having a hard time talking, and I haven't seen a good Bill Maher show in 2, 3, 4 years. And then it became like, oh, the left and the right cannot talk at all, especially because of the way the right is behaving in these conversations. And then that just continued to spiral off and off and off more and more and more until we got to the Trump era where they had all these ridiculous filibustering, gaslighting maniacs who would go into media and like it was insane. They wouldn't answer questions. They would say crazy things. They seeded the world thinking that, well, Hillary Clinton was racist too because because she had a bottle of hot sauce in her bag. And I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about?
I and sometimes and I think I've shared this story before publicly, but like sometimes specifically on the show Outnumbered, which is Fox's competitor to The View. It's at noon. It's a couch of primarily
You
women.
do outnumbered?
Hmm. And yeah, I know. You're welcome.
Do you hate it?
Yeah.
You know what I hate about Outnumbered also is that it's very clear in the presentation of the show that there's a steep attention to gentility. It's usually four women, right? And maybe one man sitting
Sometimes.
very primly. I would think they were at like a Chanel or a Dior show or something.
No, don't give them that credit. No, 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 no,
No, but
no. This is like
it's
Ann
like
Taylor at like the factory store. Do not
you're
do
talking about
that.
something different. I mean, like the level of like they barely move during the segment. It's like tea, but I don't want to like tea is like dismissive. I'm not. That's what they are presenting. It's like the stiffest show on Fox. You know, like oh my
Because
god, which is that plays into the whole status quo of
correct.
civility.
Correct. But let me tell you, on Outnumbered, I had at one point
You're talking about on
my
Fox.
yes, Outnumbered in overtime. Yes, you got it. Um, my agent had to negotiate the length of the fake eyelashes I put on.
Wait, negotiated in which direction?
They were like, "We went longer." And
They
I was
wanted you to
like,
go longer.
"Wear longer fake eyelashes, Toure."
They wanted
And
you to have longer, and you were like
longer fake eyelashes. And
and
my
you're
agent
like,
was like,
"No."
"Can you believe it?" And I wanted to like flip a table. And then I was like, "I don't actually fucking care because I want to go on and like say abortion 100 times. I want to go on and say queer 100 times."
So
Yes.
you so you wore it.
Yeah. In the end, I was like, "Hold on. What's the bone to pick?" I mean, not the first 12 hours. The first 12 hours, I'm like, "Wah." But then I stopped wearing skirts on. But it's like, it's so funny because the
Wait, did they tell you to
girls
wear a skirt?
no, they didn't. But the girls walk onto set with like a tote, like a non-significant tote bag. They walk in their Uggs, like their slipper Uggs. They
Yeah,
sit down on the couch. They
yeah,
cross their legs.
yeah,
They slide off their Uggs. They pull out the heels from their tote,
yeah,
put the Uggs in the
yeah,
tote behind the
yeah,
couch,
yeah, yes,
and they
yes.
sit there. Like in the same way that like admittedly we've seen Oprah do for years. Like she
I
always
mean,
bitches about her
but
shoes.
Fox is particularly unctuous in presenting a very traditional vision
Correct.
of
There
femininity.
was an Oscar-winning film about women
Yeah,
wearing short skirts
yeah.
at Fox,
I
and they
know,
still do it.
I know.
But anyway, my story about Outnumbered is, um, I can tell with apps, this idea of like one upping each other. Like they are all very competitive for the prime time slot. Like they're very like at each other's throat over that.
Okay.
But one time, I think I was on talking about what was it? Bathrooms, trans athletes in sports. I can't remember. It's something like that. And after the show ended, we all went back to the green room. And the gentleman whose name, I forget, I believe he was a congressman from Virginia, said, "Oh, wasn't that such an annoying segment?" I'm like, "Well, actually, it wasn't. You said on air that there's only 2 that there's only 2 genders, male and female." And he was like, "I know, and, like, my sister's queer. I don't really believe that." And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding? You just told either 10 people or 10,000,000 people that there's only 2 options, which is part of this whole conundrum." And he goes, "Well, that's what they told me to say upstairs." And then I was, like, on the hunt, and I will not name names, but I befriended some of the girls, like, some of the other women, and, so much so, like, we went out and got drinks and stuff, and I was like, are you told what you can and can't say?" And they're like, we are not allowed to criticize Trump." Like, this was probably 3 or 4 years ago. "We are not allowed to criticize Trump. Bonus points if we praise him." And then I said, "Well, who's actually scripting this?" And they were like, "I'm not kidding, Jenna. It's a bunch of gamers on the 36th floor." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "I don't even, it's not even coming from the top. It's just coming from like a young dude who knows what's going to rile up the left. And I don't even think he's that conservative. He's delivering the talking points to every single show." And I think my lips to Goddess's ears, the only thing to bring down Fox is the trust that Murdoch signed, where his 3 kids, after he dies, it won't be left to that one crazy evil guy. It will be left to the other 3. Basically, succession is totally real. Anyway, I hope I get to sit next to you again on air.
I
I just did
know.
MSNBC.
You
I'm doing
did.
it again this weekend. I did.
Whose show did
And
you do?
the weekend, I don't know the names of the shows, Tori.
You did the
8
evening
o'clock.
show on the weekend?
8 o'clocks.
8
Yeah.
PM?
8 PM, something the weekend. Yeah, the weekend, something, I don't know.
Oh,
And with Molly Young Fast, Charles something. Anyway, my
John.
hu
John. Is it Valley
I
John Fast?
yeah, but
What
I
do you
thought you pronounce it Young. I don't know. And, my husband
You
was
know
like,
no
"How
one's
was it?"
watching. Why would you do that? No one's watching.
Nobody. And I was like he was like, "How was it?" I'm like, "It was so lovely. It was so easy.
Do it in
Nobody."
person?
Mhm.
You
Nobody.
went all the way to New York City
No,
from
I'm in New York all the time. It's like I can go to Rock Center in 20 minutes. Anyway, it's really different being on a friendly network. I don't do it often. I don't think I have much to add to the
No, it
MSNBC
it is
lineup.
violently different being on a friendly network. I remember doing Bill O'Reilly's show, and the green room would be tense. Even the green room, the makeup artist isn't talking to you, and like they're not talking to anybody. Nobody's really talking, and I mean, they know like he's a liberal, so
Yeah,
it's gonna,
he's the
you
lefty.
know, yes. I mean, they also know that we don't really see him that often. And then here comes a, and then in but it was this sort of predecessor to Doom, the whole vibe. Um, at MSNBC, it's like, it's a party. Sometimes. Then sometimes it'll be really quiet and sleepy, but it's like, let's have a good time. It's fun. It's joyful.
Yeah. Well, anyway, hopefully we will sit next to each other again at some point, though I don't know what else I have to add about anything. I do. I sometimes wonder, like, is this like really my highest and best use? Because, like you mentioned about being a black male cultural critic, I often think, wait, I can be like the blonde haired, blue eyed girl, slap on a set of pearls, show up at Fox and be like, actually, whatever, put on their required eyelash length and be like, actually, that's not how I math it. Um, I think there's value in that Trojan horsey, but I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm spending time here, because I think this is deeper, more honest, more authentic. We can at least ask questions.
Yeah.
I think Jenkins I don't know why they can't find a smarter right leaning voice to come on to Abby.
They don't exist. Where are they? Where are they? They don't exist.
Yeah. It's
Where are they?
probably true. I
I
don't know, let
mean,
me think.
they
I
would
would
be
probably prefer, like, an Ann Coulter, like, I really bring her
no, you
on,
wouldn't
let's do
prefer
it.
it. You wouldn't prefer agriculture to that. I mean, like, not that she's worse, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's not a real reasonable discourse. Um, it's it's really corrosive to intellectual conversation in general. What most of them have to offer to any conversation. Um, I generally would not even talk to them at all. People on
Yeah,
the
but
right, because they generally don't really know what they're talking about.
no, I totally agree with you. The problem is that if you watch Fox and
Why would you do that?
Fox is doing laps around CNN and MSNBC combined. They're exporting their polarization globally, like,
No, I know, but I think that part of the problem is aligning them. They are not the same. They're not doing the same thing.
no.
So, to compare them is a mistake. And I know that it's sort of baked in to compare them, but like I think that's a mistake in perception entirely. That Fox is not doing the same thing. CNN and MSNBC are, I'm sorry, constrained by the truth. I worked at both places. I worked longer and higher at MSNBC, but I worked at CNN as well. Um, I can say that every person I encountered worked as hard as they possibly could to make sure that the anchors said truthful and honest things. We did not see ourselves as shills for one party, even though we were most of us are progressive. I think almost everybody around there is progressive, at least at MSNBC. But like that didn't mean that we were shills for the Democratic Party. We had criticisms for the Democratic Party as well. The idea that we are lying is not accurate. Um, I don't think that Fox is attempting to
It's
tell
true.
the truth or be honest.
It's true. Well, they're the yes, I agree. The production staff, the research staff, it's not they're yes, I totally agree.
That's
Everyone in the
not the
back
goal.
office
The
of
goal,
MSNBC
goal,
and CNN are like have like PhDs in journalism. I
yeah,
investigative work. Yes, absolutely. I totally agree.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, Torre. Goodbye. Thank you very much for taking the time. We can hang longer, but I want to be sensitive of your time. I know that you have a bunch of people
Well, I have a
watching.
6:30, but I could talk to you longer if you want.
Do you have any questions for me? I have a thoughtful question I can pose.
Go ahead.
It's probably just like annoying at this point though. Do you ever think you're misread?
I mean, you feel misread all the time. I mean, I don't think that there's a gigantic misconception about me in general. I think people can kind of understand who I am for the most part. I mean, I think that there's a constant intellectual effort to be understood and to have the thought in your head be clearly communicated to another person
Yeah.
is much more difficult than you would think because you are not aware of their biases and their attention level at any moment while you're speaking. But any of the biases, like somebody said, if any person were to step into any other person's body, especially if they were to change demographics in doing that, they would barely recognize the world from that other person. So now I
Mm,
have to get you, who sees and experiences the world entirely
that's
differently,
interesting exercise.
and will interpret certain words that I'm interpreting this way. You're going to interpret them differently. Um, I have to get you to understand the idea that I'm thinking. That's really hard, and I find myself quite often thinking a lot about how can I say something in a way that I won't be misunderstood. It's not enough to be understood, it's to not be misunderstood by a large group of people. And as a writer, you're constantly thinking about that. Um, so yeah, I mean, yeah, hopefully my big ideas are not misunderstood, but like spend a lot of your time in your life, especially as a communicator, trying to explain things to people.
Do you think you talked about your objective for why you do what you do or why you put your neck out the way that you do, but especially as a Black male cultural critic, do you think that you've lived up to what you wanted to? Like, do you think you've served that
I
purpose?
do. I do. I do. I mean, I do think that I have been a valuable contributor in that I have tried to make us look better and to say things that needed to be said and to introduce stories and ideas that needed to be introduced. And to just carry yourself with this, in a way that will make others proud that you're part of the group. And I know that as I move through the world, through the city, I am constantly hearing, especially from Black people, about like, you did a good job. You did a good job on this documentary, on this article, on this book, on that video, blah, 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 whatever, any of the creative things that I'm doing. And it means a lot to people, to me, to have people, especially Black people, saying, I really appreciated what you did, or what you said, or what you've been saying, or how you've been representing us. Um, like I said, there's a class of people who are like a full generation older than me who I know remember a time when there weren't that many Black people in media.
Mhm.
And you think of them as like the aunties or the uncles because they're old enough to be my aunt or my uncle. And they'll just say something, "Oh, I see you on CNN or MSNBC," and like you can see like you're making us proud. And I remember when there were very few of us out there, and like, thank you. And like means the world,
Mhm.
to hear that from those sort of people. Um, it's a lot. You want to be representing the community well, but at the same time, partly within that, the struggle a long time ago was to not be white centric, to not say things for white people, to not, I need to explain or to prove my dignity to white people. Um, I don't. I don't. I need to prove to Black people that about Black people and to be speaking to us. It's a shift because you are taught to be white centric. So I had to be very conscious in shifting out of that and then calling out or leading out other Black people who fall into that because I'm never interested. I remember I was on with this on MSNBC talking about Colin Kaepernick, and the anchor, who's a friend, said, "A lot of fans are very angry about this." Well, not Black fans. And so I'm rejecting her question. I'm rejecting her white centric perspective. I'm not even dealing with it. I'm just going straight to, well, I'm answering the question around the Black perception around the Black fans. For the most part, we're polling and anecdotally extraordinarily happy with the whole situation. And a lot of white fans were very unhappy with it. I'm not talking about that. And you didn't even, it'd be very interesting to note that dichotomy in the question, but it didn't occur to any producer or the host to think about what's the Black fans perspective. I mean, like, I would question for you as you just talk your way through the day, how many times do you say everybody to mean white people? And how often do you say everybody and you really mean white and Black and brown and Asian people?
Most of the time when I use the term everybody, I'm actually only talking about women. And I am talking about most women. There are a
You
lot of
mean white
times
women or you mean women?
I mean women. When I say everybody, I'm not including Black men, AAPI men. I'm not including that. When I say everybody, or if you're saying like when I'm talking about like the global population of
Not
folks,
even but not even in, like, a political way. Like, a lot of times through our day, we're just say, a lot of people feel like this. And generally, especially white people, when they say that, they mean white people, or when they refer to, like, a large group of people, they mean white people.
okay. When I speak politically and I say everybody, I typically am referencing women across
Okay.
race, across race, ethnicity, socioeconomics.
Okay.
When I talk about men and the top half of our conversation, uh, and when I say most marriages, I'm talking about mostly white marriages of a certain socioeconomic class. When I'm
Yep.
talking about parenting, I'm probably talking about mostly white women. I think it's sort of subject specific.
Yeah. I mean, there's different times of the day, but just think about it as you go forward, and you'll be talking about everybody or just a
But
group of.
I'm also trained in a way not to do that
Okay.
intentionally. In fact, it's been mostly like my indigenous teachers who have slapped my hand on that more than it has been any other folks who are like, oh, no, no, not us, not us. You can't speak about us.
I mean,
When I talk about like my hatred towards this administration and Trump, I'm definitely talking about everybody on the left. Hey, Master Liberty, I have a question for you. Sorry, there's someone in the chat who just keeps coming back to the Constitution. Um, why do you think the right, and I want to hear this from Toure too. Why do you think the right is so committed to the Constitution? As if like it's not a living and breathing like I'm hoping at the 250th anniversary, it's something that we're actively developing is doing some truth and conciliation work on here, but it's taking the Constitution, the Declaration, and dragging them into a Google Doc and tracking changes. But Master Liberty, I often find that the right in general, and this sort of came off of what we were talking about related to Fox Story, um, is there's just this like fail safe that they can just stand by the Constitution. Now have seen people do that related to the Second Amendment and guns for decades. That's always just been it. Like it's only surface level deep. They can go through the NRA's talking points and then they just full stop dead end Second Amendment Constitution. Like what? Why are we so committed to the written word? Why are we so committed to these documents? They don't dictate our speed limits and like do
I
not
think that
resuscitate forms and like
well, one thing I think that they are obsessed with certain parts of the Constitution that fit their narratives. They're not obsessed with the entire Constitution at all, right? They're obsessed with the Second Amendment, but we're generally in these conversations we talk about the amendments, but like I don't think the modern right is all about the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness.
mm-mm.
I don't see that at all from them as far as uh, you know all of the attacks on all the medical attacks from the attack on the right to choose, to healthcare, to being trans, which will soon enough be being gay. There's all sorts of ways that the government is having this huge overriding hand that definitely says nothing of we care about that. But I mean, like I said, we're talking, they are into the Second Amendment. They might say they're into the first. I don't know. I mean, we've completely destroyed the Fourth Amendment as it relates to immigrants, which that is the Constitution. They do not exist outside of our laws. The Constitution and the laws are to govern what the government does. So they have to behave that way toward anyone here. So it's not like, well, they're an immigrant, they don't get this. So we've blown through the right. There's no who's the righty who's obsessed with the Fourth Amendment. Probable cause, no unreasonable searches and seizures. Um, what else? I'm just looking through to see what they definitely are not. I mean, they're definitely ready to get rid of. Well, the attack on citizenship. So they're not obsessed with the 14th. They're trying to change that.
They don't care about the
They're,
19th.
what's that?
They don't care
Um,
about the 19th.
there you
Like
go.
broad equality.
There you go. I
I
mean,
mean, so Kieran said, like, "I think the left should be equally committed to the Constitution." Now, I'm a big we are the United States is the oldest democracy, theoretically the oldest democracy in the world. Our constitution's the oldest one in the world. 145 constitutions have been written off of our constitution. So there's some that have, copy and pasted things that they like.
wait
Um,
just a second. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to read this. It's when they talk about the rights devotion to the Constitution, really just talking about the second. I don't know what else they're talking about. What other thing here is a big deal for right-wing policy over time? If the Second Amendment is huge for them, what else on this list? We're not, I mean, we're all for the First Amendment. They're not for probable cause. The Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment, I mean, these are seventh. This is all jury trials. Everybody's for that.
well,
No
not
excessive fine, no
entirely.
excessive bail. I mean, these are not the things that we're arguing about in our politics. One of the things we're arguing about is guns, but I'm not even sure what other amendment really means that much to either party.
Well, Master Liberty was reviewing some of the Federalist Papers and was suggesting that at one point they were talking about stripping states of their rights in general.
He says he likes the ninth and the 10th, but that's not the question that you're being asked, that you like the ninth. Like, but we're not, the Ninth Amendment is that states that rights not enumerated in the Constitution are retained by the people. We are not arguing about that. That is not an argue point in our political conversation. The 10th is the federal government possesses only the powers delegated or enumerated to it through the Constitution. So don't talk to me about the right is in for the Constitution, because the 10th just completely obliterates half of what Trump is trying to do in terms of taking over the entire government. So I don't know what. Look at this beautiful child. Oh my God. Oh, this is 7 or 10. This is 7.
Yeah, this is 7.
Oh,
Sorry. I almost dropped all
um,
the amendment stuff. But yes, I don't think most amendments people understand their importance. Um,
we're the
but
only
I feel like it's
only
lazy
conversation is the
effort.
second. That's the whole ball game is the second. There's no other amendment that we are constantly arguing about in the course of our politics. I don't even see another point. What are we that we disagree on?
Um,
Is that your ring?
I checked a lot of the boxes that I was supposed to, Tori.
What does that mean? What does that mean, Jenna?
Really?
What does that mean?
As like you're given a checklist of things,
Come
I
on, be
think
honest. What's the checklist?
white women are given. Sorry, white women are given a checklist of things they're meant to go after. Friends, crafty in school, sporty, but like not too sporty, cool enough that you can sit at any table you want in the cafeteria, prom queen. If you're lucky enough, I wasn't, we didn't have that. But then you go to undergrad, you pick a major, halfway through undergrad, your loved ones and the adults in your life are most interested in whether or not you have a significant other. Do you have a boyfriend? Do you have a boyfriend? Oh, that question starts actually at like age 10, 11, 12. Then you can graduate school. It doesn't really matter what kind of grade you get. Oh, you can go do an internship in one of the big cities around the country. But you really have to focus on finding somebody to walk down the aisle with. Then, once you do find that person, when are you going to get engaged? When are you going to get engaged? Then you get engaged, talk about the wedding for 6 months or 16 months, however long the engagement is. You get married. As soon as you're done opening the last wedding present, you're then asked, when are you going to have a baby? And then you're asked the most privileged question that I think I can't find another demographic gets asked, are you going to continue to work or stay at home? I checked all those boxes. I submitted. There's nothing at the top.
It's nothing at the top. There's not working at the top. That'd be nice.
Would you like to be a lady who lunches, Toure? I'm gonna call bullshit. No. You'd be bored as shit.
For somebody there, somebody said Puffy might get out on Thursday, but then somebody else said maybe not.
You've really been in the weeds on that, haven't you?
Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I've known this guy forever.
How do you feel?
I feel like he did horrible things to Cassie, but it's very difficult for most people and thus most juries to understand a domestic violence situation where the partner takes a long time to leave or doesn't leave. They don't understand, why didn't you just leave? Like, I can't support you if you didn't just leave. I can't help you if you didn't just leave. Like, you can't be telling the truth, woman. You didn't just leave. And I don't think that that erases the abuse, but I think her youth was robbed. She was robbed of her youth, a time when she could have and perhaps should have been making an album. Who knows how good it would have been? Being a model, who knows how big she could have gotten? Making movies, she was like doing all those things in her 20s, but like dipping a toe in because she's spending 2, 3 days a week, maybe 4 days a week, doing and repairing from these freaking freak offs every week for years. Um, with a but with but that's what happened. Can we prove that that he's guilty? That's a different conversation. And no, we couldn't prove that he's guilty because juries don't like victims who don't leave and victims who get paid. And she got a big check and she didn't leave for a long time. So,
Do you are there echoes of this case as it applies to Epstein, do you think, and how why do you think if juries don't like victims who don't leave, which is just so layered in all of the power dynamics between the two of them, um, specifically when it comes to, as we're talking about, like, financial scarcity, why do you think the right is obsessing over Epstein?
oh well, I mean, the rights obsession with Epstein is partly about this expectation that the world is filled with globalist elites who are pedophiles. And Epstein was the embodiment of that. I mean, this is the group that was all about Pizzagate. Trump had been telling them,
Oh, I think it's bigger than that.
well, no, but just here's another. Well, but I mean, here's proof that are talking about globalist elites who are pedophiles. There's proof. He's convicted. He's guilty. So we're gonna out the people around him. Trump is gonna be our guy, and he would do the thing that any of us would do if we became president and make the Epstein list public. He told them he would do that. That relates to him being a normal guy, him, the man of the people thing that he presents to them, him being anti-globalist, which is very important to him and the right, and anti-pedophile because of course everybody on the left or who's globalist is a pedophile. So these are touching so many important triggers for the right. And to have Trump get in office a couple months and be like, oh no, we're not releasing that, I was just kidding, there was no Epstein list at all, it's like, wait a minute, you're acting like them. You told
Because
us
he
that
is.
yeah, but they didn't know that. Like, you told us that you'd be different. And so it caused a lot of cognitive dissonance for them. This is a situation where he's doing something substantively different than what he had been presenting beforehand. So usually we see the hypocrisy, but they don't. And in this situation, they see the hypocrisy. And Scott is like, Democrats didn't care till 10 minutes ago. That's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. This was a
Which I
right
also don't
on.
think is true because I definitively
But I
agree with
mean, I don't think Kamala and the left cared about Jeffrey Epstein in 2024. It was not an important issue to us. It was an important issue
correct.
to Trump, right? And his wooing of the right. So now we get to hear. I mean, like, it doesn't matter that the left didn't care. Is it true or not? Like, we clearly know there's a list, or there's documentation. Why wouldn't you let it out? He tries to make it a legal issue. It's a political issue. You're like, oh, let the grand jury testimony out. He
There's nothing
knew
there.
that. But that's just a sliver of the whole
Nothing there.
thing we're talking about. Um, I mean, it's kind of like the Coldplay couple. Like if they had just
Played
stood
it
there,
off.
right? If they just stood there, it probably would have disappeared into the ether and nobody would have noticed. Or just like, just calmly separate and not make it like, their body language clearly communicated, oh,
God,
they're having an affair, which is Chris said it right away, but everybody saw, oh, that's a fair body language. Trump is acting like he's guilty. This is not how you would act in this situation if you weren't guilty. So it's
no,
like
but
everybody.
he's been so guilty before. Like, so Pam Bondi, I mean, I entirely agree with you. I think he is. I think Trump is all over this thing. I think Melania arrived in Trump's life via some of the trafficking networks. Like, I call me a conspiracy theorist. This is all math to me, and like, I think it's all the way deep into like Mossad, underwrote Epstein to blackmail all of the power systems in the US and in Europe. Hence the reason why Trump can't do anything against Bibi. Bibi has all of this on him. But for me, like a recent telling is Pam Bondi, cute white girl who's supposed to be checking all the boxes. She was raised never to lie. And when she sat in the West Wing during that press conference. And he was like, "Well, what does Pam Bondi say?" And she was like, "Well, there's nothing really to see, and there's that 1 minute of every single night that's erased from the jail cell, and that's the 1 minute that he ended up hanging himself." Like, she's a terrible liar, which is what I ironically want in my appointed officials. But like a terrible, terrible 5-year-old girl trying to get away with a lie.
Right.
And I think they are seeing that. But like to me, I'm like, I can't figure out if this is your excuse to be able to be like, ah, now I can get off the Trump train. Like, oh, now this is justification enough for me to bounce. You're gonna get back sucked into master liberty talking about the Constitution and which amendments
Yeah.
from the Bill of Rights, he thinks that but it's true. There's not that many in general that I think that any of us hold that sacrosanct. But um I don't know. I'm convinced that Mossad underwrote Epstein to collect blackmail.
Oh, Mossad under. They were going somewhere else.
No, I think Israel underwrote Epstein to collect blackmail on all of these powerful folks so that they could never do anything against Israel. Yes, there's intelligence level cameras, communication cameras
You
in
think
his.
Epstein is a plane
Yes,
from Israel?
yes. And
Not
I'm like not a conspiracy
not
theorist.
Russia, but Israel.
Israel. Russia's not smart enough. Xi Jinping in China would be. Xi Jinping would pay for it. Israel was the one who did it. 1,000%. And
Putin is,
the,
first of all, Putin, KGB, way smarter and more strategic than Stu. Bibi's an idiot. Putin would have got away with this shit. Bibi's a
I
fucking
don't think so.
moron. He's an idiot. He's so stupid in the way that they attack Gaza and the West Bank. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
So just hear me out for a second. I absolutely, and I did not come up with this idea. Vicky Ward, who's the one who wrote the breaking piece for Vanity Fair.
Vicky Ward wrote this, that
Yes.
Epstein is
Yes.
controlled by
Yes.
Israel?
Yes. Let me rephrase. Vicky Ward says there is very strong evidence to suggest. ChatGPT this, go back to our Vanity Fair article. Vicky Ward. I know.
Right now. I never heard this
Vicky
story.
Ward, just right. Does Vicky Ward think that Mossad underwrote Epstein?
See, because I thought you were going to say that Israel and Mossad are underwriting Hamas, which I believe that
Oh,
they are, and that
that
Hamas is extremely valuable
yeah.
for Israel because it allows them the
I don't
moral
think
and
they're
perhaps
doing it on like July 29th, but 2025, but do I think they did it in like 2023, 2021, 2017? Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Ryan Grimm reported on this that the leaders of Hamas post October 7th offered to step down and vacate Hamas, which actually no longer exists currently.
I know.
So Scott will go on tonight and complain about Hamas, which does not exist. But they offered to step down, and Netanyahu said, "No, no, no, you will not." He does not want them to step down. He wants to continue to have an enemy because if he doesn't, the fighting stops. He loses his job as prime
Right.
minister, and he goes back on trial. He possibly goes to jail.
I know. Do you know what I was Googling? I was personally ChatGPTing late last night at like 1 a.m. when I couldn't sleep. Was if there is an ICC arrest warrant out for BB, if and when he comes to the United States, could a mayor or could he be arrested? Could he have a citizen's arrest? I obviously now know the answer. The answer is no. But yeah, no, no. Tori,
You
hold on.
couldn't arrest him.
Let me just make sure that we're clear on this. Vicky Ward broke this story under Graydon Carter, who I actually think was a phenomenal editor, even though I think he's probably like a little cringy, a great editor of Vanity Fair. She broke the story about Epstein, let's call it 20 years ago, with those two young
Yeah.
sisters who were trafficked to Santa Fe.
Right, right.
Um, she was about to put their names into the article with the blessing of the FBI, if I recall correctly. And then a decapitated Graydon Carter's cat in like Connecticut or the Hamptons or something like that was killed, and the cat's head was put on Graydon Carter's doorstep. This is not Jenna being a conspiracy. This is well documented. Well documented. And there were bullet canisters or unused bullets or I don't know, whatever, next to the cat. He chose not to run the article with the girls' names in it or
Right.
something
I
along the
remember
line.
I remember that.
Okay. Casings. Thanks, Master Liberty, whatever. Clearly, I don't care about the Second Amendment. So Vicky then said the money, it's not clear where it's coming from. Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell, however you pronounce her name,
Elaine.
dad was involved with Mossad, worked for Mossad for Israel. And so the theory was is the only way that the money that was big enough and the only objective was for Israel to collect blackmail. I have to be careful because I could be running into the territory of creating a trope. But I do think, yes, a trope against state of Israel and Jewish people, blah, 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 blah. But I do think that Epstein was connected to Mossad. According to Vicky Ward, she's one of the leading best investigative reporters on this and says that the evidence is there. I don't think it's crazy. And then if BB goes, you want to stop me from doing what to Gaza? Do you want me to release the 15 tapes of you with these 12-year-old girls, Trump? And he goes, no, have at it.
Um, Interesting. I'm not ready to buy that. I mean, I think there's many reasons why Trump is and America are in the grip of Israel and not supportive of Palestine.
I think there's
Yeah.
many other reasons. I don't think it has to do with Trump, but I think BB has Trump's balls in his hand. For sure. Sorry, Jay. I know that
Chat just
was
said you.
yeah.
Chat said you. Not
By the
enough.
way, syphilis infested balls. Oh my God, is Harvey Weinstein still alive? No,
Jenna,
he
you're
died,
supposed.
right?
Oh my
No, is
god.
he alive?
You're supposed. Yes, you're supposed to say pause after you say things like, Trump's balls in his hand.
Syphilis infested balls, Torre. Anyway, I think we're so fucked. But let's go back on CNN and have an honest conversation with Jenkins.
You know what I mean? Where he could be like, "Everything's fine. Trump can do whatever
Yeah,
he wants to." It kills me every
yeah.
time he says, "Trump can do whatever he wants to do." I'm like, that is the dumbest analysis possible.
Yeah, but
Yes,
wait, is he wrong?
right, but well, but it's irrelevant to say he can do whatever he wants. He
Oh,
actually can't do whatever he wants. There is a constitution, there is a structure. The president can't do, he's not a king, so he can't do whatever he wants. But I mean, like, if your
he's
professional
gotten away
analysis
with everything
as a
until
professional
Epstein.
talker is he can do whatever he wants, you shouldn't have bothered to come. Just say I have nothing to say on the segment. That's such a bankrupt what is the value to the viewer of he can do whatever he wants? Thanks. Thanks for explaining the basic free will. He can do whatever, like, that's the dumbest fucking comment. See, you're gonna have me up there saying that's the dumbest. I'm gonna find a fucking
No,
snide
just
way
say
of saying that's
it.
a
I
dumb
mean,
comment. The dumb fucking comment. But then but then I don't get to talk because you're gonna talk over you. And I'm like, I don't want to be arguing with you. I want to use my time to talk rather than to be chirping. You know what I mean?
I think it'd be very easy to be one of them. I don't think they ever bring any facts to the conversation. I
No,
don't think
no,
they bring any like healthy debate. I think they're just
no.
like the Second Amendment.
Well, no. Whatever you say about Trump, I'm gonna say Biden. That's my
What?
conversation with
I
you.
swear to God, do you know what I say now? You're welcome to use it. I'll go, look, you can't respond to this with the butthurt emails and Benghazi and what about Hunter's laptop? We are not going there. Blank. Like, I fill in the blank because that's
I
their
mean,
response.
they'll go there anyway. I just try to say something above their head. Because I'm like, I'm not
That
responding
doesn't
to
help.
you. I'm going up here. But here's the big issue. I generally will start anything. Here's the big issue, and then do a sort of drone level conversation rather than, like, I can't stand arguing about a fact. Either it's true or not. We're gonna argue about whether or not this person turned left or right. It's a fucking fact.
Well, but that's how I feel about a lot of my moral perspectives. Like like
Wait,
there's a lot.
when you said before, you said you ticked all the boxes
Oh,
as
you
a
want to go back to like
woman.
white womanness? Let's go. Right. Y'all know us better than we do.
I don't know
Anyway.
that. I don't know that.
Actually, you know
You
what? A huge demographic of people who bought my book were black men, and they were like, "Oh, now we get it." That was not a demographic. I didn't think a single one. I didn't think a single black man that was is not written for them.
I mean, some of us want to understand white
Yeah,
women very much.
yeah,
Some black men.
yeah. I understand. What else would you like to know?
I don't know.
We're the largest voting bloc until 2060. We control 89% of the economy.
When you look in the mirror, what
We
do you see?
Well, it depends on the minute of the day. If you wanna ask if you're asking, like, the existential,
No.
I s okay, fine. I don't know.
All right. What's your existential?
Alright, fine. Master Liberty, why don't you read his point about Republicans and the Second Amendment again? He just came through with another comment. Oh my god, you know what? I don't wanna hear about militia in 1905, Master Liberty, like, it's just it cannot be part of any argument anymore. We're done. What do I see when I look in the mirror? It's not I don't need to look in the mirror to have these sort of who am I? What am I doing? What's my highest and best use? I think about that a lot. I think about how my inherited uh, belief that I have to have certain levels of perfection before I do things. Like, I would never come onto Twitch without some makeup on my face. Some. Doesn't have to be a lot, but like some. I'm not coming on to Twitch without, like, hmm, knowing what I'm talking about. Like, I would never do a conversation with someone about sports because I don't know well enough. Is that responsibility or is that perfectionism? A recovering perfectionist? I think I spend a lot of time thinking about what's good enough. Not because I think someone else is wondering, but because I wonder if it's good enough for me. And, like, I checked all the boxes and I'm not happy. It didn't deliver anything. Go ahead.
No, it's just strange that you don't think that it delivered anything.
Well, I was lucky enough to conceive. I was lucky enough to carry 2 pregnancies to term. My children bring me extraordinary joy. It's not the things we have. It's, like, how, like, awkward and silly and funny they get. Like, those are the human things. The things that bring me joy are when I, like, sit down and can, like, look at my friend when she's, like, bearing witness to her. I love watching my dad with my kids. That brings me joy. I didn't need to check a single box to do that. I also am sitting here from a I can list all the privileges that I have. I can list the tower that I'm sitting at the top of. My unique tower. Some of it I built and some of it I didn't. It was just handed. I'm happiest when I'm in community with people. I'm happiest when I can see, when I can, like, bear witness to other people's life experiences. And nothing about the checklist gave that to me. Maybe sports experiences in my youth, maybe roommates in undergrad. We can also talk about the militia in 1905 if you want.
For what purpose?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess we're debating whether or not the Constitution makes sense or not. It's certainly not protecting everybody. Well, it's protecting everyone's guns. It's protecting everyone's guns.
Thank God. Thank the Lord that's protected.
Yeah. I actually believe that we have a 28th Amendment,
You believe we have a
the Equal Rights,
28th Amendment?
mhm, the Equal Rights Amendment.
Okay.
I believe Biden passed it on his last day in office.
Okay.
I'm not going to bring it up anywhere until I feel
Oh.
like it's safe.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
Yeah. There was a huge push the last, like, 3 months of his administration to get him to pass the 20th Amendment. It had passed all of the metrics it needed to over the past 70 years. And we just needed the president to say that it was the law of the land. He said it was the law of the land at 11:30 a.m. the Friday, his last Friday in office before the inauguration. Constitutionalists, speaking of which, constitutionalists with Master Liberty would say it's 20th Amendment. It hasn't been held as precedence yet, and I don't want it to. It will change everything. It would be the first time women, actual women, the word women would be in the Constitution.
It's crazy.
Crazy. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that publicly. I do not want anyone to catch wind of it.
Okay.
Toure, thank you
What?
very much for taking the time and being with us. Being
Sure.
us.
Sure. Do you have a good time?
Yeah. I want you to come. I want you to come. I have a lot to say on men.
Like what?
How concerned I am about the demographic.
You're concerned about men?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
On what?
Um Well, if we go back to the original part of our conversation about like their emotional breadth, I think I think they know there's a broader emotional experience to have in life, but I think you don't think they do. I think they do, and they don't know how to get there. And I think in some cases they're relieved that they don't know how to get there. I think some men are thrilled about it and will prefer to stay numb.
You can't imagine something you don't have. So
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
don't,
I'll pick up
but
that card.
also
Oh shit!
being
I forgot about yoga. It starts in 8 minutes. Damn
that was the whitest womany thing you've said all day. Oh my god, I forgot about yoga. Is it at least hot yoga?
it. Yes. Tori's like, listen, it was really nice knowing you. This is why I don't fuck with you people. I'm gonna go now.
You want to go to yoga?
No, I can't make it.
Um,
Then,
also, part of being a man is not being a woman, right? Whatever a woman is, a man is not. And women are emotional. So to be emotional would be anti-manly or
mhm,
unmanly.
mhm.
So it can't be emotional because that's
That's too girly. That's too
for chicks.
feminist. Yeah.
Yes, for feminists, the whole thing. But we're not evaluating the world emotionally at all in general.
Yeah, but you kind of feel like shit about yourselves. None of you feel like you have enough money. None of you feel like you have enough power. None of you feel like you have enough respect.
I mean, yes. Yes, that is
None
true.
of you're all confused why you can't please your women. Why don't they think that I'm listening to them? I am. I'm not saying you did anything wrong in that circumstance, nor am I saying that Reed and I are right or assuming that you weren't. But
I get it. Um,
anyway, I'm worried about our boys because I think there's going to be more women whose bar on emotional literacy, like just this shit that I want in my relationships, friendships with people like you, friendships with my girlfriends from elementary school, friendships with my parents, relationships with my parents, certainly relationships with my kids. I want something more authentic. I don't want to talk about sports scores. I want to know what keeps you up at night. Not because I have a solution, but because I want to like carry that burden with you. And if you and I have the same thing, then I don't feel like shit about myself.
I mean, I I kind of don't want to share my burden. It's kind of like anti-male. Like,
I
you
know, I know.
should take care of your burden yourself. That's kinda like a big difference. Like, women, like, share your burden with me, I'll carry it with you, I'll share space with you, I'll hold you, I'll fucking be here for you. The dudes are like, "Take care of your shit." And I'm not saying that a man won't show up and help another man move or whatever the fuck he needs. He's drunk and like that will happen. But I mean, in general, the emotional interplay between men is generally not going to be, I'll help you when you're feeling bad. It's like, what do you
Yeah,
mean
but
you're feeling
that's
bad?
not my social contract with my girlfriends either though. That's not my social contracts with my girlfriends.
What do you, what
Meaning
do you,
like my contract with them is not like I'm going to help you carry your burden. It's like I'm just going to bear witness. And sometimes we get like stupid drunk and giggle together and sometimes we like like I don't know. It's most present. It's like when you're with your kids and you're just hanging out on the couch. Like it's just like there's no agenda. There's no agenda. Second, there's agenda with people and in relationships. It strikes me a flag goes up. Like when you go to hang out with your friends, are you like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I talk about stocks and sports and
but that's the whole thing right there, that you think that I interact with my male friends thinking about what we're going to talk about.
no, my question is do you?
No, but you think that talking is the center of my interacting with that male. It's not.
Oh, interesting. I do.
we do things together. We're gonna go work out together. We're gonna go to the
Yeah,
movies.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
watch a
yeah,
game.
yeah,
We're gonna
yeah,
do
yeah.
fantasy football, Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah,
play
yeah,
tennis,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we're gonna do
Yeah.
something together. And the doing will be the center of watching game,
The
whatever,
bond.
of the hanging, right? Of
Yeah.
that moment together. Talking might happen. Deep talking will probably not happen, but talking might happen. And I mean like talking beyond great play. He's a shitty player. We're so glad we traded for him.
We're gonna
Whatever the
order
fuck.
food. Right.
Talking about the thing that we're doing. We're here doing this thing together. We had a great experience together. I'll see you later. You guys are it took me a long time in my life to be like, what do girls do together? Because I don't see them. Because like
Watching the game.
yeah, like we watch a game together. We but what they're just talking. Like, what are they doing? And like the talking is the doing for
Yeah,
them.
yeah, 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 yeah,
You're
yeah, yeah.
just two girls in the corner talking. In many cases, they are thrilled. They don't need anything else.
Yeah, we
We
don't
have a
need to do anything.
yeah, I have a girl to talk to. She's a good conversationalist. Like, even if I just met her, she's a good conversationalist. Like, let's go. We're happy. My husband will bring me a glass of champagne. A little
Right.
prosciutto. And the guy's like, what are we doing? Are we dancing? Are we making drinks? Are we like we gotta do something, or we're just fucking just standing here talking? And a party
What's
often
the safest thing for you to do?
the safest thing for
Yeah,
me to
like
do.
if I was like, "You're coming over for cocktails to my
I
house,"
mean,
like
I'm coming over to your house?
yeah,
But even
and I'm
that
like, "Wait,
even
I'm having a bunch of friends over for cocktails." If you walked in, what would you be like, "Oh, we gotta do this." Like, there's a game on. Great,
well,
I'm gonna do that.
I mean, I mean, it's a complicated question because I understand it's a mixed group, so I understand, like, the mixed group is probably not gonna behave in the way
Yeah,
the
yeah,
man
yeah.
way. So I'm like, "Let's watch a game." We'd be like, "Turn on the game," and the guys would start watching the game and talking about the game, and the women would probably gravitate to another part of the room and talk,
Yeah.
and have a conversation. Or maybe like, let's play a game, let's play Jenga, or let's play poker, or whatever the fuck together. And now that's what the man would want. But you said safe. I wouldn't feel unsafe
Yeah, I know you
ever.
wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. Most men I know would.
Most men would feel
Yeah,
unsafe.
yeah, like, I think most men none of my New York male friends, but, like, I don't know, actually, maybe that's not true, and here I am, like, I'm calling myself out. What do I mean by most men? Um, I think there's, like, more
I mean,
social
even like
awkwardness with dudes.
even like a party before I was married was fun because I'm doing something. I'm trying to meet the prettiest available girl in the room. That's what I'm
Is
trying
that
to
how
do.
you would walk into a room and be like, "Where's the prettiest girl?"
Oh, for sure. I mean, if I didn't come with a girl, I'm like, "Who's the prettiest girl? Okay, who is available? Okay, can I talk to her? Is there a vibe? Is there a opportunity to, like, get to know her somehow?" Um,
Huh.
for sure, there would be, like, a point to it. Um, and, now you're married, you're not doing that. So I'm like, "This fucking party's boring." There's no point to the party. Like, for what?
The doing was the chase for you always, it sounds like. Huh. Well, don't we have a lot more to unpack across all the things, specifically Epstein and Mossad.
Oh
Please
my
go down
god.
that rabbit hole.
Oh my god.
These are not my ideas. These are much smarter people than me.
No, I
Smarter
get
people.
you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, I'm now. Thank you for coming. Jay, let's get ready to raid. Um, Toure.
Thank
This
you.
is Toure. We've been dropping your TikTok handle the whole time.
Yeah, Toure show.
Toure show. He's actually like a big deal. He's a BFD, as Biden would say to Obama. He's a big fucking deal. Find him. Find his commentary on the state of the world on all the other social medias.
I do a show called Truth Talks
He does a
that you
show
should check
called Truth Talks, but it has a subject matter focus.
Truth talks?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like cultural commentation,
we
specific
argue
sli
about politics and culture and yeah.
yeah. Anyway, he has more opinions, believe it or not. He's happy to share them. Um, Good luck with the next series of weeks. Enjoy those babies of yours. And
Mm,
let's hang out
I'd
sooner
love
than
to.
later.
I'd love to.